Like my nipples were awfully like damaged from breastfeeding. I had purple boob, and that created like a lot more acceptance within my body, because even though, like you said, I wasn't creating like the beach body perfect but I felt more in control of my health and my body.
Your body is going to change. It's not going to be the same. And I'm like, no, it's not. Like, it's a choice.
Yeah.
I am going to look bomb as fuck.
Yeah. You're not in control of someone else's reaction. You're not in control of someone else. What will be, but you are in control of how you feel that day and how you let that thing reflect on you.
Be your highest self with MYLSD.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to my LSD Dose, the podcast that explores how to be your highest self in life, relationships, sex, work, wellness, and so much more. You name it, and we got you. If you are new here, please make sure to hit that subscribe button and subscribe to Thrive. All the services, products, book info, videos that we use in this episode will be mentioned in the links below. Please check them out. We have a lot of great courses and supplements, everything to do with wellness, beauty, self-love, confidence, and so much more. I'm your co-host, Maria.
And I'm your co-host, Stay. Like, stay here and stay tuned.
That's right.
Wow. Okay, so hi guys. Welcome back. Today we're going to talk about understanding beauty in all forms, the good, the bad, the beautiful, and the ugly, but through a female lens, featuring beauty and wellness entrepreneur, blogger, and mother of two daughters, Stephanie Abrishamchi, and also my very, very dear best friend of many years. To get a little bit more concrete, we're going to dive deeper into what is beauty versus what it is not. How does beauty change in terms of our perception through the ebbs and flows and phases through life as a woman, different perceptions on nutrition, health, wellness, fitness, and even pregnancies and motherhood and being a wife. Oh, exciting times. Without further ado, let's welcome Stephanie Abrishamchi. Yay!
Yay!
Actually, that's a good segue to a question I wanted to ask, because you've had such an interesting journey in terms of going from modeling and, being so much on show in the spotlight and then marrying Mo. How was it for you going from one extreme to the other, being in one spotlight to another spotlight, going and marrying an affluent Iranian man, and it's such a cultural difference. How did you, perhaps maybe modeling sort of prepared you for that as well, for the pressure, but how did you kind of navigate that and find your power within that as well?
He made me feel safe. So I didn't feel at all kind of, like you said, like the eyes on me. I guess I was used to it. We go to these weddings. It still happens. Me and him walk into a wedding. People start looking. And it's a very, like I've seen my wedding video, right? And I see all of these women just looking me up and down. It's a very common thing in that culture. But, women, they're very, looking at others, and there's that thing. And I'm not saying it's a negative thing. There's so many beautiful things about Iranian culture. It's a very deep, rich heritage, and there's some incredible people. But it was very like, there was initially this kind of, from young girls, this, you've taken our man, you've taken our eligible bachelor, and who are you? And, oh, you're some like, I got all sorts of things like, okay, I was a Victoria's Secret model. It's like, okay, I'll take that. I don't mind that. Or I was like a nail technician. They were like, oh yeah, she was a nail technician. And then so what if I was a nail technician? How is that a negative thing if I was a nail technician? It was like I had to kind of constantly say, things about my or like, I went to UCL, and I had to kind of put that into a conversation that I went to a top university, and again, proving my value and my worth, because that's how it was felt that I was judged by his society. How sad that this person or whatever is judging me. You have this beautiful country that, okay, there's lots of political issues, but so rich in heritage, so lovely, so hospitable, and that's truly what I see. But then there's this side of society that were judging me because Mo, his family was this, and they didn't know anything about my family, or I could never compete with his family, and that meant that I was not worthy of of being with him, but they were. And in our relationship, it's very much been like he prefers me not to work, not, just to, be with my kids, which I am, and be the wife. He's like, I can do everything, I don't, and I think that's really incredible and very honorable of him that he likes that and wants that. And I find that attractive. But then still to this day, I get this kind of thing from certain women that, oh, you got married young, and like making excuses for poor behavior, or making excuses to like society that, oh, like this is how it is because of this, and that I should be happy because I have and but not want more out of things, or for instance more purpose for myself.
For yourself.
And I think
yeah.
that's the cultural thing that I think is very, and it's not cultural, it's really actually it's nothing to do with their culture, it's a society thing. So I think it was really difficult initially, but again, Mo always protected me and always made me feel that it didn't matter. It was us against the world. And I think that's like, I remember just being in the room with him and we just forget about everything. So everything, as long as me and him were good together, and it's still to this day, as long as me and him are doing well together and actually like communicating well, anything can be thrown at us and we can deal with it. But as soon as one of us slightly breaks, which can happen in any relationship, I don't think anything's perfect, then the whole world crumbles. Like then we can't handle anything. So I think he really helped. No, it helped in the sense of, and you could go on now and say this is like also negative, right? But in a way, like I think that's how I was able to handle a lot of negativity, because I had him on my corner, like in that society. So that's how
I think everybody needs like a place of safety, a place of support, a place of strength. Like we're not made out of stone and rock, and we all need people in our lives who are there for us, who can, lift us up when we're down. And I think it's beautiful when that comes from a partner in your life. And that's hence the word partner. People actually use it so often, but is that person actually your partner really? Like, are they there to support you? Do they encourage you to be yourself and be your best, highest self, etc.? So I think that's really like, it's stunning, truly. Well done.
Yeah.
Good catch.
I just wanted to add, thanks for sharing that, because I think it's important, even for them, if we do, when or if how we have any male listeners, I think it's great to hear an example of what it means to be a committed man that is like, who knows what he wants, who sets a goal relatively early. I think that's super important, being a man of your word. And, he really, I remember the story of how you told me that when he saw you, he was like, she's going to be my wife. And he just like went for it. And despite the ups and downs and the turbulences, he really stuck to that commitment and that loyalty between you two. And I think that's, such a great example. So thanks for sharing that. And also I wanted to touch upon a point of maybe some tips that you can kind of recommend for people that are trying to navigate their confidence within situations like this, when there's like outside influences or they're being challenged by some kind of like superficial society norms or whatever. How do you kind of, from your perspective, sustain and generate your confidence within your beauty that comes from within?
I think for me, it's also about knowing yourself and really understanding that, like, the worst can be done to you, but it's because it's your reaction to it, right? So I think that's always a thing that, you've got. I very much easily, it's in my personality to absorb everything. So after many years of therapy, to be honest, I've learned that to not let that, like, you're not in control of someone else's reaction. You're not in control of someone else. What will be. And so, but you are in control of how you feel that day and how you let that thing reflect on you, and how you navigate it, and how, if the sun is shining, let's smile, So I think that's the key. It's just knowing yourself, your self-value, your self-worth, and know that. I even tell my daughter, she's like, Mommy, I need something to make me happy. And I'm like, but Jasmine, listen to yourself. She's like, what will make me happy? I can't tell you, little one. What do you think that would make you happy right now? What is it that you feel that would make you happy? Like, but she's asking me, and I think that's kind of if you go back to, that's what a lot of the time, a lot of us, it's a natural response to look for outsourced love and affection, and I still do it. There's so many times that I'm like, I need this, that's going to make me happy. That's not true. And I think now, hearing my little one say that to me, it's making me like that's the tip I can give someone, that you really, it's down to you. It is down to you. You can let these things happen to you and be miserable and let it ruin your day, or you can just, okay, have a good cry. Like I go to the park, have a cry, like I cry like this, but like I'll have a cry, and then I'm like, you know what? But that's it. It's not gonna navigate my day. I'm going to get up,
Yeah.
do what I need
Amazing.
to do what makes me feel good. And I know those things, that what make me feel good now and what make me switch off and what is negative for me. So I think that's important, to find those things that will make you feel good and go do it.
Yeah, you're in the driver's seat of your life. Only you.
Exactly.
For
Exactly.
sure.
Exactly.
How long after you guys got married did you become pregnant?
So it was a good 4 years. So I remember Mo telling me, he's like, I think everyone thinks we have a problem because we're not having kids. So it was actually him that insinuated having a child, because we hadn't had one yet. But I think that's also another thing. I don't think you can put a time of how long from marriage, like for instance, I think in society we're kind of like, it's like automatically that we need to have kids. But I think we spend a lot of time kind of growing up together, which I think was
Amazing.
really,
That's
really
super
important for
important,
us.
because you have to kind of prepare as a couple for something as big as having a child. Because if you both are a mess and then you bring a brand new human being into this world, that brand new human being might also be an absolute mess. But the reason why I'm
Yeah.
asking this is because this was kind of our next topic point of conversation, is to do with the pregnancy. And I think both Stay and I wanted to learn a bit more about how you navigated that and still sustained, potentially, like, I don't actually know, depending on what you answer, but feeling beautiful, feeling sexy, is that
Oh,
like what
I'm
was your
saying that.
relationship with that, with your body, with your
Yeah.
femininity, etc., during
There's
your first
definitely a
pregnancy,
learning
especially?
curve. A first pregnancy, you know what? I'd been dieting since I was young, and I had a
Mm,
very negative relationship with food. And so as soon as I was pregnant, it was just carbs. Like I was loving life, but then the out of body experience of seeing yourself, I look back at pictures and I'm like, okay, yes, I created a human, and we should all be embraced that, because we're now on this movement of embrace what your natural body, but you
mm,
don't need to eat for two, and you can do healthy. And I did it second pregnancy, so I learned. But I honestly, the year and a half after having Jasmine was extremely hard for me. Like I was not myself. I looked at myself in the mirror. I didn't recognize the person. I had the identity crisis. All my friends are partying and I felt so unsexy, and I felt so, but at the same time I was like, screw it, because I want to do this and I want to breastfeed my child and I want it. So I had that, although I looked back and was kind of miserable, but I also had that power to be like, you know what, this is what it is. And I think that was beautiful, that I felt for my
amazing.
child, I needed to do that. So I can look at it in a negative way if I want to, but I can also see actually what I learned from that. And I, second time round, got pregnant, over 4 years later. I worked out every day. I was clean with my eating. I didn't gain as much weight. Like I gained over 20 kilos in my first pregnancy, second
Mm,
pregnancy, probably around 16. It's not about kilos. It's just about how you feel, right? But I felt so much better with Valentina. And even to that point, though, afterwards, I was breastfeeding again. This time she was latching, so I was actually feeding. I kept all
mhm.
the water. So all these people, they're like, "Oh, you can lose weight feeding." It's a load of BS. You look. I mean, I had like my nipples were awfully like damaged from breastfeeding. I had purple boob. I got this thing called mastitis 3 times with Valentina, and like I would feel so ill. I'd be bleeding. Like it was just crazy roller coaster experience, but you have this power to kind of pull through. And in the end, no matter how you're feeling at that time, it all changes and you start to feel yourself again. And it literally, like, but what I can say is it was easier second time on my body, on myself, on my mental stability,
You're
that I'm
really
not.
selling this one, let me tell
No,
you.
yeah, I really am, right? No, I'm saying no, because I think it's
I'm like
fair.
so
I
down
think,
to go get pregnant ASAP after this
but I
chat.
feel like there is a positivity in this, that it's all normal. And I think that's what it is. It's knowing that, because I didn't think I was going to come out of this brain fog, right? I thought that, oh my gosh, I'm going to be like this, trapped in my head for so long. But it lifts and you start feeling yourself again. And what that was me seeing my functional medicine doctor, me believing and owning the fact that I felt like I was floating and high as a kite, that it was going to stop. But it's okay that I felt like that, because the panic and the fear and the anxiety, because I was like, why is this not ending now? Why am I not feeling myself? Why am I not? I had all this pressure on myself.
that actually that's where, when I surrendered to how I was feeling, I actually started to feel better. And so there were 2 points
Always the
for me.
case, isn't it?
Yeah, it was the functional medicine doctor who gave me the supplements, probably a lot of placebo as well, that, okay, I'm doing all of this. This is an EBV reactivation. Now I know the answers. And then second, that it's okay, I'm feeling like this. And I now know why. So I know that in the end, I'm going to get better. And then I started working with Peter, who saved
Hey!
me.
Yay!
And I'm still working with him.
Let's
But
just, for
I
our
honestly,
audience, clarify something. Peter is a dietitian who we have an
Peter
amazing
Yvonne.
program in collaboration with. The link is below. Please check it out for anyone who wants to become healthier, more shredded, and like Steph here, saved,
no,
basically.
and I'm talking about, I feel
That's
bad. I'm
it.
sitting here thinking I'm getting the mom. So we have this thing like called mom guilt. I'm now feeling like, oh my gosh, people that are listening to this are probably thinking that I'm all talking about myself. But actually, the most beautiful thing is I've made 2 beautiful kids. And that is incredible. No one can take that away from you. But
For
also,
sure.
I think it takes an army of people to support you. And I feel like this society doesn't do it. The expectation
Yeah.
of a woman to still be like this, to still be like that. I mean, this time I've decided to myself, it's like, okay, I'm going to wear Arshel provocateur through my whole pregnancy. I'm like, I
Love
need
it.
that for
That's right,
myself.
girl.
That's exactly
I
what I'm
need
talking
that.
about.
And
100%.
that's not for
All day,
anyone
every
else. That is
day.
for myself. And that's for myself to
Facts.
feel that, I can feel great. So when I am pregnant, I still do my lashes. I go do my hair. I do things that I can do. I still work out, even though I'm not there to create the perfect butt for the
Yeah.
summer holidays. But it's whatever, finding these things, because I think it's fair for us to say that it is a really, really lonely journey if you're not willing to take, like, own that you're going to feel very weird. And I don't think enough people tell us that the hormones create, I mean, we know how we are before a period. Double that, triple that, same time you're looking after a baby, you have zero sleep, you feel all the stresses of everything else going on, or whatever that is at the time. Your expectations of your husband go to like 500%, and maybe they can't be there at the time because they have their own
Yeah.
expectations of whatever that is work wise. But it's all about you. But then you're stuck and you're like, well, I'm the one with the baby. So there's so many things going on at the time. So I think what I can say is that I'm actually happy that I'm saying this, because I want other people to know that it is okay to feel like that. And it does. And you do get yourself back. And you get yourself back and realize that it was all worth it when you have these 2 beautiful, healthy children, or however many
Oh,
kids.
for sure. For me personally, when I was experiencing my pregnancy, I had the exact same kind of outer body experience because I started gaining weight very early in my pregnancy.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't look at myself in the mirror. I hated it until finally a friend of mine, a good friend of mine who had just given birth to a baby, we had a big catch up, and Nicole, and she had given me all these tips about, exercise apps that you can use. And then I started using them at the gym. I started finding my grounding finally and doing things for myself. And that created like a lot more acceptance within my body, because even though, like you said, I wasn't creating like the beach body perfect but I felt more in control of my health and my body, and like navigating this pregnancy in the way that I like saw more fit for myself and healthy in a healthier way. So I think it's like also so important that women support other women, and we're there too, because it is hard doing it by yourself. It is really difficult to navigate alone.
It is
So
really, and I think, and again, being embarrassed to say that you might feel completely weird, and you might feel like, I remember being at like dinners and I had just nothing to say. I feel like trapped in my
I
head.
was just gonna, yeah, I was gonna suggest, sorry, question. You mentioned identity crisis, and I really remember how much you had struggled in that period after you did give birth to Jasmine and Mykonos, because there was all the hot tamale girls. Remember, all the boobies were done, and they were like
I
tiny
became,
model.
you know
I
what?
remember that
oh
time.
my.
I became really bitter, and it was so
Yeah, I
horrible
remember.
because
So,
I've never been like
how
that
did you now?
before.
How did you find your, like, because it's really, because you are stunning and you have been praised for your beauty, I'm sure it was a big hit to your ego at that moment, because up until then, probably there wasn't anything you couldn't really do, but then all of a sudden, you didn't feel in control of your body, and all of a sudden, it was all going haywire. So how did you, in that, because I would imagine that was probably one of your biggest obstacles at that time period. And for anybody who's listening, I think it would be great insight, because I think probably a lot of moms can relate to this. How did you find your power, your strength, in the face of so much intimidation, that you were not that girl that you were before, that everybody was looking at, and you know?
And I think that's it. It's accepting it and doing something about it. So whatever that looks like, because I think we could have gone into, I went into full victim mode, you know, but that's the wrong thing. At the end of the day, it's like, okay, women that want to lose weight, go to the gym, eat super clean, whatever that is, you got to do the work. So I've never made an excuse, even if I'm exhausted. So actually, it's about, if you're not feeling like that, it's owning up to the fact that it had nothing to do with those other girls that I felt like that. It was because, yes, I've been through something natural. It wasn't anyone else's fault. It's a natural response, and I have this beautiful child, but I am going to do whatever it takes for me, most importantly for that child, because that child needs me to be happy. Otherwise, I can never, ever, ever give what those children need. And that's where I think as a mother, we get it all wrong, that we think, okay, I'm going to feel like shit. I'm not going to work out because my baby needs this now. Okay, your baby has had its milk. It's had its sleep, whatever it is, just find those 20 minutes. There's no excuse to like going to get some healthy food or going to pick up some biscuit in the fridge, you know, in the
so
cabinet.
making sure that you're a priority and giving yourself that self-love would then be able to give everybody that self-love to full capacity. It's like putting on the oxygen mask first, right? Before you put it on to your passenger. I think that's a great takeaway. Your next neighbor,
your child,
neighbor,
your passenger, to your child, babe.
Your passenger is your child, you know.
Excuse me, sir. I
she's literally just passing through. That's actually almost a way. They're passing through. That's what I think. Another thing about like being a mother is that I don't own my child. My child is passing through those years with me, and then yes, they're always going to have me there as a guide or a safety net. But you know, then they kind of, so actually in a way, the passenger is kind of nice. It's like you're there, you're saving them, but they're also knowing that they have their own path and their own journey as well.
Definitely. So I guess that other, aside from the self-love, because I was recently speaking to a man like in his 40s, and he said this phrase that really didn't sit well with me. He was like, well, yeah, you know, you're going to find out when you have kids, your body is going to change. It's just not going to be the same. And I'm like, no, it's not. Like, it's a choice. Yeah. I am going to look bomb as fuck because I'm going to work out. I'm going to do the thing. I'm going to do this. There is no excuse. And I like that attitude. I like that mindset, because I think a lot of people do give up. Yeah. And I think reminding that doesn't have to be, we tell ourselves a narrative and then we believe it. And it's oftentimes us just running away from ourselves, you know? And then looking at other people who look good and being mad and bitter at them.
Or there's always a way. It's just an excuse. So I think that's the thing. It's not making excuses. You can change things. Your body does change. Things are out of your hands. Like I had tiny boobs and now they're tiny sad boobs, and like if I want to do something about them, I can choose to go do that if that's going to make me feel better, if that's something that I want to do. But I know my other body types, I have a nice ass now because my body naturally widened, you know, like I have these things. But I've you know, there are things that are out of your control, but there are things that are not, are in your control. And I think that's what's that's what's super important to know.
That's actually what I was just going to say, is that I have seen some women genuinely become like 10x better looking, more fit, more glowing, better hair after pregnancy, because they also had that kind of extra push to want to be like you don't just go back, you kind of like go over whatever you used to be before. It's like a 2.0 version.
I want to be a hot mom. I want to be that mom. You know, I want to still feel good for myself, you know, and whatever whatever that is.
But I kind of also feel that, you know, when I mean, I don't know the science 100%. I'm no doctor, but what I have heard and what I've researched is that your body has so many like nutrients and so much happening that is actually regenerative to your body that you can actually use it to your advantage to get a better body after you have a pregnancy, if you utilize it correctly, which I think is I don't think enough people talk about that. How can you make it work for you rather than... Guys, if you found this clip fun, exciting, and interesting, please subscribe now. Yay! Woo!
Yay! Subscribe.
Subscribe to thrive.